This is the most strength that we've seen on Bitcoin so far, and I'm going to show you why on this chart right here. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be pumping up, but I certainly think that probabilities are on our side right now, and I want to break it down for you. And of course, look at the other sides, because we are keeping this very realistic on this YouTube channel. So welcome back, ladies and gents, to another video. And what we've been seeing develop here on this chart for Bitcoin is a lot of consolidation up at this price range, right? I mean, since we entered this price range, it's now been nearly 3 days where we haven't even seen a real rejection, right? I mean, we got, this rejection here, which took us down by what, like 2%, but we recovered it really quickly, and we're still basically just consolidating up here, which I think is absolutely great. And if we compare this to what happened before, when we kind of hit this range as resistance, we can really start to understand how the market is behaving differently now and why that might actually be very bullish here. So on this occasion here, when we kind of captured resistance up in this range, it was a very, very quick drop down. On this occasion here, it was a quick drop down, and you can see it actually took us down by quite a bit, right? Again, I mean, if you measure it from this high down to this low, this was a 4% drop, and, we just kind of kept on doing that throughout the rest of this price range. Even over here, it just wasn't great. Here we saw bigger pullbacks, but again, you bring this back to the present day and we take a look at how this market has been behaving now, and I think we're very, very clearly getting comfortable up at this particular zone of resistance. And again, one of the things that I talk about a lot on this YouTube channel is that when you are starting to show signs that you're getting comfortable at a resistance level, or that you're getting comfortable at a support level, that is actually typically a very good sign that things are about to change in the market and you're going to break out. That's been my experience. I've been trading these markets for 7 years now, a little bit more, and that's something that I've spotted quite a lot, is that when you start getting comfortable at a particular level, it's going to be easier to break it. And it also makes sense, right? One of the things I like to do is just kind of look at how I learned something in the past, but then also just apply a little bit of a common sense check to it, right? And for me, the reason that I think this holds up with my so-called common sense check is that if you're at a resistance level, but you're not getting rejected, or if you're at a support level, but you're not bouncing up, then that's telling you that resistance is not working as resistance, or support is not working as support. And if that's the case, then I think naturally you have to expect that that level is going through collapse. You have to expect that that level is going to be breached. And I think that's kind of where Bitcoin has found itself right now. It's also against the backdrop of a very bullish S&P 500 that's just set a brand new all-time high. And those of you that are in Europe, you may have heard that the European Central Bank has also now announced that they are cutting interest rates. So is this going to be the beginning of interest rates dropping, or is this just a temporary thing? I don't know. Obviously, the most important market for that will be the United States, and so we're going to wait to see if the US interest rates end up dropping. But and that's something that I'll continue to keep you guys updated on. There is some evidence to suggest, I'm going to talk to you guys about this later in a different video altogether, there is some evidence to suggest that interest rate periods where interest rates are changing, that can actually lead to a lot of instability in markets in a bad way. So there is some evidence for that, and I'll talk to you about that later. But let's keep it locked to this chart for now, because I think this is definitely where things are most interesting. And the thing is yeah, I mean, this is the longest time that we've spent up here now for, by quite a good measure. And if it is the case that we're actually going to be getting that breakout, then I think it makes it all the more likely that we're actually going to be able to reach that all-time high at $74,000. It's really not that far away. I mean, from the top of this range to that particular price range now, it's only a 3.5% move. It's only $2,500 to rise up. And I think because of that, that gives us a really, really nice big opportunity for a potential trade, just kind of looking for, if a breakout comes in, maybe going long at about $72,000. That's a very, very easy $2,000 gap, 2.3% move, slap it with 10x leverage. That's already a 23% profit. I'd probably put my stop loss below some of this consolidation. So it's a one-to-one risk to reward. It's really not good, but I'll tell you what is good is that with these exchanges linked below, you can trade anything you like, and they're going to give you free money when you start trading using my links below, which is crazy, because it doesn't matter how good the risk to reward is. It doesn't matter how good your setup is. You're going to be trading with free money if you sign up to Blowfin, which does not require KYC. And that means you can just throw it anywhere you like. And, if you make profits, you can withdraw them. If you don't make profits, who cares? Not your money. It's the exchange. The exchange can lose money a hell of a lot more than you can. So it doesn't matter if they've lost money with the offers they're giving you. So definitely go ahead and check it out when you do start trading using these links I've given you. You're going to get some really, really cool bonuses. Of course, Bybit, giving you up to 30k, which is super, super cool. But Blowfin is one that is worth paying attention to. I have a feeling, I don't know, but I have a feeling that they could be one of the most serious players in the game over these next few years. So definitely do pay attention to them. I've spoken to some really high up members in their team, and I was actually quite impressed, which doesn't happen super, super often. But if we do come back to the market here, I think the main star of this show will be that Bitcoin potentially, if it does get up to its all-time high, would potentially break it. And if it does break it, then, I think we're going to be, quite clearly seeing some very, very nice upward price action now. I mean, we've got to keep it in perspective here. We've entered this price range 100 days ago. That's 100 days of consolidation, ladies and gents. And now we're also consolidating up here at the very, very last bit of resistance, which I just don't think is particularly problematic for Bitcoin. So because of that, I think, we're probably going to be moving up. I think another thing that's worth noting, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, let me know in the comment section below. By the way, I read all the comments. I hate saying this because I remember when I was a viewer and a very, very small content creator, everyone would be like, I read all the comments, but I don't reply. I was like, yeah, right, bullshit. You don't, you read them. It's actually true. Like, we do read all the comments. We just can't reply to them all because it takes a lot of time. But I want to know if you agree with the following. Like, I've actually noticed a lot of people talking about exit the crypto markets now. This is the top. I'm calling the peak. People saying stuff like that. And for me, in my experience, these kind of things, they're generally wrong. They're going to be wrong 19 out of 20 times. And it's going to be the case that they're wrong for so long that eventually these people who are saying exit the markets, eventually these people who are saying that the markets are dead, they will actually end up switching sides, and then the market will actually collapse, right? So I think the fact that we're even starting to see people saying stuff like exit the markets now, to me, and I'm not like a mega bull moon boy or whatever. You guys know me, right? This is why you come to the YouTube channel. But just from, evaluating psychological perspectives in these markets, to me, I don't really think this is over. And I think the fact that we're starting to see some people really lose confidence now is actually exactly what I would have wanted to see to validate any bullish hypothesis I have, to tell me that this market might be ready to move up. So I think we're looking pretty good from that perspective. Of course, if we do lose this particular zone here, which stretches from about 70,000 up to about 71.5, it's all rough ranges, but if we do lose it, then the next very clear support will be down at $67,000 as far as I'm concerned. There are going to be a couple of levels in between, but it's just not that important. I think we would end up getting down to 67 pretty quickly. Anything below 67, and it would be a blow, right? I mean, it would kind of suck. It wouldn't be great if we managed to get below 67. And I'll show you some indicators in a minute as well, to kind of elaborate on what I'm saying. But it wouldn't be great if we get below 67. And, the reason for that is purely because it wasn't easy to get above this zone of resistance. I mean, we got below it, around the middle of April, and we're now, approaching the middle of June. I mean, it's early June right now. So we saw one big rejection here. We saw a much bigger rejection here. And then, even at the end, we were still getting some rejection. So, I mean, it really took some time from the moment that we lost this level until the moment that we got above it, 36 days. So I think it's an important level. I think we're going to see the indicators that I'm going to show you shortly validate that as well. But, if we do get below it, then, we are still in the same bullish range. So that's actually really, really good news to me. This market stays bullish anything above 60. Actually, it stays bullish anything above 30K. That's truly how I feel about this market at this stage. For me in the previous, when we were bottoming out at 15K at the bottom of the previous cycle, I was bullish very, very publicly. I would say that I'm actually bullish anything above $3,000. So, for me to get it validated and start being, genuinely bearish on Bitcoin is quite difficult to achieve. We would really have to do something quite bad. But even, just on these shorter term perspectives where, obviously you have to be a little bit more nuanced than that, I think we're still pretty good as low as 60K, because this is still just the same sideways trading range, happening at an all-time high, right? And I think that's ultimately the best thing going for this Bitcoin chart right now. If I really zoom out and show this to you on the daily, for example, I mean, we're just forming, and this is huge price action. I mean, we've just never been this high for this long ever in Bitcoin's price history, and that is generally going to be a sign that actually things are looking pretty good. There's probably some Wyckoff accumulation distribution patterns, depending on which way people want to bend the narratives right now. I don't really pay much attention to that stuff. I'm sure it's actually quite useful, but for me, it's just very much like subjective analysis, so I don't really care about it too much. But one of the other things I do want to point out, though, is that if we do take a look back at crypto in 2020, I'll just show you that chart right here. And this is excluding Bitcoin, so it's not actually that useful. Let me actually go ahead and look at a normal Bitcoin chart for you guys right here. And if we do take a look at Bitcoin when it was breaking above that $20,000 level, this was back in 2020, we had a stellar rise up, and then we just kind of paused at this resistance zone. And we paused here for about 30 days, right? It was about 30 days after we entered the range that we got the breakout. And of course, on this occasion here, as I did mention a couple minutes ago, we're now 100 days into this. So we're obviously doing things a lot slower than we did the previous time that we broke the all-time high, back in 2020. But we are doing the same thing. I mean, it is the same setup where the market has had a stellar rally to get up here, and it's basically just started to trade sideways before getting that, what looks like inevitable breakout here. So I'm not saying that, things are guaranteed or anything like that, but I am saying that history is rhyming very, very well right now, and this character trait of Bitcoin of kind of consolidating at an all-time high before breaking out is showing itself beautifully here. It's showing itself very, very well, and that is definitely a good sign for the market as far as I'm concerned from this particular perspective as well. So that is absolutely great, ladies and gents. So far, if you are watching this video and enjoying it, do me a favor and smash up the likes and just double check that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. A lot of you guys who actually want to see this content aren't subscribed, which means that you're only going to get this content when YouTube wants you to see it. Even if you're subscribed, it's going to be better, but it's not going to be great. You can check the bell icon, and that's also going to deliver notifications to your phone whenever I go live or whenever I make a video. So that's super, super useful. And of course, huge bonuses here. You can just open a new tab while you're listening to this video and take advantage of these exchanges. By the way, those of you that have signed up to Bybit, you do have to deposit and start trading in order to get your bonus. It applies to all of these exchanges. They're not just going to give you the money for free, but I know a lot of you have signed up to Bybit. You just haven't gotten anything yet. Those of you that haven't gotten anything yet, you haven't gotten anything because you haven't actually started to trade yet. So as soon as you start doing that, they will credit these bonuses to your account. So go ahead and check that out. But bringing it back to the chart here, let's take a look at a couple of indicators that I find useful. I'm going to start off with the Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour time frame. It's already worked out phenomenally for Bitcoin at the very, very end of last month in May. It's now quite thin, which I don't like. I don't think that's great, but it is clearly reliable on these shorter time frames, so it is something I'll watch out for. I think once this cloud develops a bit more and gets thicker, that's when I'll be able to use it for my analysis, but right now, I can't say a whole lot about it. If we look at this on the hourly, we do have very nice support on the hourly Ichimoku cloud here, and it's just reaching the chart now. So this could be a sign that actually our consolidation is about to come to an end and we're going to get a weekend breakout. I wouldn't rule it out. I actually think that's very likely to happen. I think that's probably where the probabilities are leaning at this stage. So that's something I would keep an eye out for. And we're actually going to see this confirmed probably by the EMA ribbon. Yes, we are, because the EMA ribbon has now almost completely caught up with the trend. I mean, originally we already saw a couple nice bounces out of the EMA ribbon, which is absolutely great. But I think this trend now, and the EMA, have basically just caught up, which again is making for a very, very bullish setup over the weekend. If not, obviously, if nothing really happens over the weekend, then even better, maybe Monday when the S&P 500 reopens. If the S&P 500 opens bullish, which, it certainly might, because it's at all-time highs already anyway, so it's already very bullish, well then, that could be a very good setup for the market here for Bitcoin to start pumping up as well. If we zoom out a little bit more onto the daily time frame, we haven't seen this longer term momentum catch up with the market yet. You can see that the last time the momentum did catch up with the market was back here, and it was actually a really good thing for the market. It was actually what triggered the next move, or of course it didn't trigger the next move, but it correlated very nicely with it. And so, you know, we haven't actually been able to produce that just yet. So that's something I'm going to continue to watch out for, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. The trend hasn't been super aggressive since then, but I mean, you can't expect much. I mean, this was, first of all, it was only 7 days ago, but second of all, you know, we're in a pretty tight range. So I'm not expecting the moon and stars out of this yet, but you know, it is a sign that this longer term momentum isn't quite there yet. So if you're a little bit kind of longer term with your outlook in the market, and perhaps you might feel based off this that the market isn't quite ready to pump up yet. And by the way, just looking at this daily chart, I mean, we have got 7.5 hours left on this candle, but you know, these last couple of daily candles haven't been giving me confidence. This is actually, I think, one of the main downsides is when you do start to zoom out and just look at this extremely local price action. I mean, if you zoom out even more, then it looks super fucking bullish. But if you just focus on what's happening now and you ask, what is the next move? Is it up or is it down? You know, I think that these last couple of daily candles are very clearly pointing down. So that's the thing, is like, you know, super short term, we're actually looking good. But when you start zooming out, I think it starts looking a little bit worse, and it's really going to depend on the outlook in terms of time frames that you have. I think personally for me, I don't actually care. I think we're probably more likely to move up. But if we do move down, you know, 67 is as low as I think this goes, so it's not even that bad, and then we're probably right back up. That's the way I see it. I don't see us losing 67 now, unless there's some sort of news event or, you know, just something unexpected that happens in the market, you know, which causes people to be scared. But, you know, I'm not going to bank on that. It could happen. It happens quite regularly, but you can't expect it. You know, you can't say that it's definitely going to happen. So it's a little bit pointless to speculate. And then the daily Ichimoku cloud, still very far away, but just, again, reconfirming for us that even at the very bottom of this range, we still have very good support that could be enjoyed with this market here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin's dominance, which has continued to climb up slowly. I think it's just continuing to do its thing. I'm going to continue to watch this, and I'm still expecting the same thing of a 60% Bitcoin dominance score. Ethereum against Bitcoin continuing to pull back and get weaker, but it's falling into a critical support zone now. So the last times that we saw big spikes, you know, when they fell down to this range, we did still produce a good number of you know, bounces off this particular support zone. So you know, even wicking below it and then producing a big move up. So this is definitely where you're going to start to look at this. This looks like Texas, this part of the Ichimoku cloud. This is where you would start to expect some support to develop for Ethereum against Bitcoin. So this is something that I would be looking out for if I was an Ethereum bull. I'm not an Ethereum bull, but support is support. Resistance is resistance. It's one of the most common things that you hear me hammer into your head on this YouTube channel. Smash up the likes for it if you appreciate these basics being reaffirmed and just shoved straight back into your face, ladies and gents. I make no secret about it. I'm very vocal about these kind of things. This is extremely important to keep in mind. Support is support. It doesn't matter what your bias is. And so even though I'm not expecting miracles for Ethereum, I have to expect that support behaves as support. So I'm going to be watching this and seeing how that works out. I think if Ethereum can get above this blue line, that would be a huge bullish sign. If we can get above this yellow line, that would be even better. And honestly, above this yellow line, I think Ethereum is super bullish against Bitcoin moving forward. I mean, is it possible for a fake out? Yes, of course. Will I be expecting it to be a fake out? Probably. You know, it's going to be hard for me to get bullish on Ethereum right now. And it's not even because of the chart. It's mainly just because of the fundamental setup of how I understand these markets to work, which is that if I'm expecting Bitcoin to break out, or if I'm expecting Bitcoin to continue trending up significantly, and I think Bitcoin could easily double from here within this current market cycle, then I can't expect Ethereum to have the spotlight yet. You know, and that's the thing. So for me, it doesn't really even matter what this chart produces in terms of bullish breakouts. I can't get bullish on it because I understand how these markets work. And I understand that if Bitcoin is going to be super bullish, then there isn't going to be an interest in Ethereum generally because you're already making money with the safe asset. Why would you go into the risky asset, right? It's only when the safe asset has already made you money and it starts cooling off, it starts consolidating, it starts getting a little bit boring. That's when you see these pumps. And of course, that's exactly how we saw this Ethereum pump happening as well. So I think that's worth keeping in mind, even though even though there is that ETF narrative. So that's something I'm going to be continuing to watch out for, and I will keep you guys updated on it, of course, on this YouTube channel. There's lots going on in the altcoin market. Obviously, memes have still been a big deal. I've been promising you guys the meme coin content. I haven't given it to you yet. It is coming, and it is going to be worth the wait, so bear with me there. It is definitely going to be very cool, but you know, we are seeing some pullbacks here for Pepe. If we go ahead and take a look at some of our bigger altcoins, we do have Binance Coin just recently breaking out over these last couple of days with a beautiful bull flag right here, definitely implying that if this short-term aggressive price action continues, and there's another big move up incoming for Binance Coin. Let's actually zoom out and look at its longer-term resistance. I mean, this is an all-time high, actually, isn't it? Yeah, Binance Coin just set an all-time high here, so you can't really even see, you can't really even say where it's going to go now. It looks like it's just 100 times smaller than Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's at 70K and Binance is at 700. But, you know, we will see where this can go. I mean, sky's the limit, really. You know, 750, 800, 1,000, you pick. Your guess would be as good as mine now. But it does have a very nice setup here. And I think, you know, the fact that it's been consolidating for so damn long, and it's now finally produced that breakout. I mean, it was consolidating for about 87 days here and now has moved up. You know, to me, it could strongly imply that there's going to be a nice little season of upward volatility here for Binance Coin. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. Obviously, a back test would be great if Binance Coin comes down to, let's say, about 620. This looks like a nice potential bottom. That would be a really nice back test and a phenomenal trade entry as well. Definitely a trade that I'd be interested in with the exchanges below as well. I think that you know, one of my favorite things about a trade setup like this is you don't even know if you're going to get it, and those are typically the best setups in my experience, right? It's the ones where, you know, you're setting your orders, but you're like, I don't even know if it's going to fill, fuck it, whatever. And then you come back, you know, 2 weeks later and it has filled and you're in a massive profit and you're like, oh, thank you, 2 week younger Sammy, for having that foresight. You know, and so that's something which, you know, I would definitely be interested in these kind of positions, because you know, the fact that you're not even sure if they would fill is just a testament to how good that entry is. You know, for many different reasons. So I think that that's something worth paying attention to. If we take a look at some of the other coins, I mean, you know, I think Matic, you know, obviously generally just a nice representation of the rest of the coins. You know, Solana obviously uniquely strong a lot of the time, just kind of consolidating around its current zone of support. There's not a whole lot more I can say about it right now. If we take a look at a couple of others, I think they are largely moving like, you know, the Matics, for example, you know, a little bit lower than I would like them to be right now, but still trying to push up unsuccessfully. However, you know, breakouts could be on the horizon. I'm not expecting anything. I'm not holding my breath or placing my bets for anything right now. Link looks like it could get interesting soon because it's been dropping down. So there is support down at $15.80 and at $16.60. I would probably be looking for this lower zone of support. So those are a couple of the things that I'm looking at across the altcoin market. I think S&P 500, you know, looking pretty good, you know, for the last 3 hours of this trading week is definitely interesting as well. I think if we take a look at Bitcoin here on the weekly, you know, we had a phenomenal bullish engulfing candle a couple of weeks ago, and I was covering this with you on this YouTube channel. Smash up the likes if you remember that analysis. I was telling you we're probably going to see a lot more upward price action, and that's exactly what we've started to see here, which is absolutely great. So I think this follow through is exactly what we would have expected, but I don't even think it's done yet. You know, I do still think that that new kind of all-time high season is going to be on the way. I think it's pretty close. You know, that's just my take. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, but I do feel pretty confident about that right there. So there you go, ladies and gents. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.